Sakchirananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virabhava Bhomestam Nirdesa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tushe Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvaswa Padambojau Radha Madana Mohana Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastau Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Deva Prishtalibi Sevyamanu Smarami Srimad Rasarasaram Bhivam Shiva Tatatastita Karshan Venu Svanir Gopir Gopinatha Shri Estunaha 18 Thakur Godayaki Kariyachina Atmasad Etir Nira Charan Vondon Tine Moranad Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vande Nandavrajastrinam Padarinam Abhikshnasa Yasam Harigato Kitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam Hantaya Madrabala Harirasavaryo Yadrama Krishna Chananash Parasha Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayo Yat Paniya Suya Vasakannana Kannamulai Vrindayai Tulsidevya Priyayai Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Sri Nishinga Jai Nishinga Jai Jai Nishinga Pralada Desha Jaya Padma Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata Abhutanam Tadatman Tanam Surjamyaham Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mami vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha sarvadharman parityaja Papebhyo mokshaishami masuchaha Shushusho shudadhanasya vasudeva kataruchi Syan mahat sevaya vipra punyatirtha nishevanad Shinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana Hridyantaksto hibhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam Nashta praeshu bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat-yutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tadarajastamo Bhava Kamalobha Dayaschaye Cheta Eter Anavidam Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantish Chijante Sarva Samshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishtaiva Madishvare Mali Hai Kareshe Bijaropan Shravana Kirtana Jali Kare Sechan Tahan Vistarita Hoy Pale Prema Pal Ihan Mali Sheche Nitya Shravanadi Jal Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartamekam Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradhari Kripam Buddhir Yastamaham Prapadye Kala Nashtam Bhakti Jogam Nijam Ja Pradush Kartum Krishna Chaitanya Nama Avirbhutas Tasya Padara Vinde Gadam Gadam Liyatam Chitjabringa Ajanulambita Bujau Kandakavadato Samkirtanai Kapitarao Kamalaya Takshao Vishvambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Chaitanya Krishna Chaitanya Gaurango Dvijanayaka Yatinam Dandinam Chaiva Yasinam Chasharomani Raktambara Dara Shriman Navadipa Sudakara Prema Bhakti Pradashchaiva Shri Shachi Nandanastata Nityananda Vadhur Dhendur Vasuda Prana Vallabha Janavi Jivitapati Krishna Prema Prada Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Shriman Shachi Nandana Purvaja Bhavan Mato Jagatarta Rakta Gaura Kalevaram Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadi Chakaschana Parihare Pilajame Kimbruve Purushottama Yuvatinam Yata Yuni Yunam Cha Yuvatau Yata Mano Binamate Tadvan Niramatam Twayi Umaus Kalita Padanam Bumir Eva Balambanam Twayi Chata Parananam Twameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Balaviradhe Prakaye Twamaham Sada Twadiyam Iti Janatu Govindo Mam Twaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadishe Karunamrittavahani Kripaya Nijapadacha Dasya Mayam Pradiyatam Nitaina Mineche Namirhate Shadamunyenam Dite Chere Nitaina Mineche Namirhate Shadamunyenam Dite Chere Nitai Namineche Namirhate Shadamunyenam Dite Chere Nitai Namineche Namirhate Shadamunyenam Dite Chere Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Jashodanandana Jaya Vraja Jandaranjana Jaya Jashodanandana Jaya Vraja Jandaranjana Jaya Jamuna Tiramanachari Jaya Giri Varadhari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Go Premanande Hari Hari Go. Welcome everyone to this celebration of Bhadra Purnima. It's become celebratory all over the world because devotees are right now thinking about Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Swagatam Suswagatam. Prabhu, please, you need to, if everyone agrees, please give a... And because of our distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam, we've attracted a great sage to come here. We're feeling the potency. Thank you very much for being here, Radisham Prabhu. We've been checking in with devotees in various parts of the world, and everyone's feeling happy because they're fully engaged in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. There's several reasons that they feel happy. One is that when we're facing something and we don't know how to do it, and it seems like it may be impossible for us to do it, but then somehow we get carried away by the energy and then we try for it anyway and then we achieve it somehow, then we suddenly feel, oh, maybe I can do it after all. But even more than that, we realize something more important that lifts a great burden from our shoulders, and that is that I'm not the doer. And that if I'm given a spiritual goal to attain, and then I try for it, and then I realize that actually Krishna is the one who's giving the power to do it. So many times we've made goals here, and they seem impossible. And so many times we've developed goals for the globe, and they seemed impossible too. I mean, right now, looking back at Tirupati in 2019, when we pushed for 10,000 sets of Bhagavatams, it seemed a little edgy. Like, okay, maybe you guys, better calm down a little bit. But now it doesn't seem like that anymore, right? Because Krishna is unlimited, and when we devise ways to improve our service to Krishna, then he empowers us. And this is life. This is what makes life worth living. I was reading my notes yesterday that I got from one of the devotees who's a great scholar on Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He got his PhD in studying Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If you're going to get a PhD, that's a good place to go. And he was talking about how Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so engaged in thinking about how Krishna consciousness could go out to the whole world. In fact, he was the one that devised the methods of sending books out to other places. And just the wonderment of the power of books, that you can be in one place and then all the ideas, everything that you need complete, is transferred to another continent. Right now, continents seem a little closer because of modern means. But just a couple of days ago, we were talking about, in fact, we've been half joking about Antarctica for a while now. The penguin joke is probably getting a little old, or maybe not. But we did, Nandini Kishori found out that there's actually an Indian scientist there. And we're sending 12, 13 sets there because, as it turns out, there's other scientists there from various countries around the world, and we're going to place a set of Bhagavatams in each one of the languages on Antarctica. Haribol. And I thought that Bhaktivinoda Thakur would like that. And I know that whenever we look at the maps we have conceived and we show where the activity is taking place in the world, the imagination of the devotees becomes enlivened and engaged and thinking, well, why can't we fill in all this? I mean, oftentimes when you look at a map and you think, we only have to go this far. Actually, there's a lot of windy roads and mountains you have to go through, and it's a lot longer than you think on a map. We look at the globe and we think, well, why can't we just cover the whole place with Srimad Bhagavatam? And, why not? It was Srila Prabhupada's vision. He thought that the whole world should be covered with Bhagavatams. And as we try to do that, as we figure out means to do that, and we fulfill the desire of Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas to spread Srimad Bhagavatam over the world, to popularize it, and make it part of the conversation in the world, we fulfill their desires. And this is the main goal, or the main means to reach the goal in life, is to find out what the great souls want. Shushusho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatsevya Vipra Punya Tirtana Shevana. And if we can satisfy the great souls, then we get a development of taste for hearing about Krishna. We develop a kind of an intense eagerness for it, which allows us to enter into the higher stages of the practice of devotional service. So today, just as we're speaking, I've been checking in with devotees in various places, and they're all thinking, well, how to close the gap. We only have 50 more to go. In Alachua, I heard this afternoon, and in Toronto, I think they said 27, 28. It's like election night. Waiting for your candidate. It's like, could he pull it off? There's 2 more counties over there. Maybe it could happen. And this is the exhilaration of the Krishna consciousness movement, to have some service where we actually care and we have a stake in it. And it's a real stake, because when we plant a Srimad Bhagavatam somewhere, we all know from personal experience what an impact that it makes on people's lives. And so it's a worthy cause. Here at ISV, we've been able to, over time, incrementally increase the number of sets of Bhagavatams going out. How did that happen, Malini, would you say? Hand her a microphone. I mean, can you remember the history of how it all unfolded?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I think we started with, first breakthrough was when Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu said that we should go Bhagavatam sets door to door. That was the first time we went outside the congregation, started knocking doors. And ever since, that has been the spot. Still now we continue door to door. And after that, slowly by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we've started finding new avenues where we can distribute. And we found Gram Vidyadan, that sending sets to India. Then we found other countries where we can send, and many locally as well here. Last year, the year before, the Wisdom of the Sages group started participating with us. And I've been getting so many messages from them, so many sweet messages that they have received a Bhagavatam. So, but over the years, because we had a goal, just because to see how to fulfill that goal, we were put into that position where we are uncomfortable, and we started thinking of different ways than what we did last year. So I think it's...
You gave a quick summary because it jumped really fast from the beginning to the present day, but I can remember times standing in the parking lot on Bascom. That's where we used to live, right? Bascom. And I remember standing there in a circle one night and just talking, dreaming about if we could get to 500. I mean, how much would that be? That seemed impossible. And now we're breaching the 2,500 mark. At least tonight we will, because we're inching towards our goal of 2,500, and we'd like to break that if we can, before midnight tonight. Otherwise, no prasadam and nobody's going home. Just kidding. So, what other things should we say right now?
Whatever you like, Prabhu.
Whatever we like, okay. Well, I'd like to say that out of all the 64 items of devotional service, that there are 5 that are particularly potent, and we base this whole community around this principle, actually, because where do you start when you're too busy to actually do full-blown 64 items of devotional service and the full morning program every day? Well, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put it before us that there are 5 items that are so powerful that even if you have a little contact with them, even if you don't have faith in them, if you're not offensive and you stay in touch, then he indicated that you'd be able to advance in devotional service. So one of the ways that we've been blessed at ISKCON of Silicon Valley is by emphasizing the importance of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and, of course, distributing it. And distributing the Srimad Bhagavatam requires hearing it also. And in the discussions that take place when we're talking to people about it, then we have the opportunity to remember the stories and then relate them to people's lives. And then, of course, the brainstorming it takes to think of new avenues. And we start to realize that actually the only limiting factor is our own attitude. That if we think that it's possible, as long as we just keep extending ourselves and making the Srimad Bhagavatam visible, then there are new avenues that'll open up. So tonight, we're going to be honoring the devotees who have sponsored sets. Tell us a little more about the agenda.
Until 7:30, we can discuss anything from Srimad Bhagavatam. And at 7:30, we will play a video, and then we can honor the devotees or take pledges if somebody
What's
wants.
in the video?
It's
a secret? A new video?
Yes, Prabhu, the one that we didn't play last time.
Okay.
And then after that, during the Aarti, we will have a simultaneous Aarti for the Bhagavatam on the altar here. And devotees, some devotees have invited their friends to be able to give the Srimad Bhagavatam today. So we'll put them on the golden throne here, a Bhagavatam, and there is an opportunity to gift them during the Aarti. And the most important point is that we have to wrap up by 9 p.m. because there's a global broadcast that's going to start at 9:30.
Okay. And they have to get ready, and we're running the global broadcast from our booth right here.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Just as a summary for those who may have not been informed about Bhadra Purnima, it comes from a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto that says that if on the full moon day in the month of Bhadra, one gives the Srimad Bhagavatam as a gift on a golden throne, then one will receive the benediction of reaching the supreme destination. What does that sound like to you? What does it sound like? An invitation to give away Srimad Bhagavatam, doesn't it? Well, it was there for thousands of years, and we only noticed it recently. And when we did, we compared it to what's been happening around the world during Gita Jayanti. It's the supposed time in which Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And it's a day traditionally in which devotees have risen to the occasion to distribute millions of Bhagavad Gitas. So what I heard when I read that verse was an excuse to start another marathon to distribute Bhagavatams. And what's important is to have a date and time that you're going for. And there couldn't be a better invitation, I don't think, that's right in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our main Shastra, to invite us to give our might to distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's how it started, in a small, humble way, and then it picked up, well, it became, it caught the imagination of people all over the world. Partly, one of the revelations about the Bhadra Purnima was that it doesn't cannibalize our other book distribution. In fact, it assists, it helps it. There was a fear in some places that if we emphasize the marathon for the Bhagavatam, that then the end of the year marathon, and in some places, even countries, if you look at a graph, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, that's when it all takes place. And some thought that if we do it before that, then everyone will just take it easy. But what we found out is that by the mercy of the Bhagavatam, there's a lot of momentum that's built up, and we have even more impetus. In fact, devotees feel a little restless after finishing the Bhadra Purnima, and they're wondering, when's the next one? Because rather than being enervating, the energy that we get from doing Sankirtan actually not just sustains us, but lifts us up. And there's no replacement for that anywhere in this world, dwelling in the internal energy. And now I'm going to ask Radisham Prabhu just to say any thoughts. He has his distribution of Srimad Bhagavatams has been an example for people all over the world, for leaders in the Krishna conscious movement in particular, because Radisham Prabhu has one of the most successful communities in the world in Pune, perhaps the most successful community by his design from the very beginning. And when it comes to book distribution, it's always on the top of the agenda there. And he personally took Bhadra Purnima to another level by going out and individually distributing sets of Bhagavatams to thousands of people for Bhadra Purnima. So would you please tell us some of your realizations or some inspirations about Bhadra Purnima and the Srimad Bhagavatam? If you want him to, please.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
You do it. So, Prabhu, switch it. Hare Krishna there.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I feel extremely blessed to be here today on this auspicious occasion. I always wanted to see how His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu would conduct such festivals like this here. I just come a couple of days whenever I visit, once or twice a year, and so many wonderful verses he recited in the beginning. It was so soothing to hear. And another observation I made is whatever he does it in a very devotional mood, in a very prayerful mood. I want to copy this one, making this beautiful arch for keeping Bhagavatam when we do that. So it's like a throne for the Bhagavatam. So nice it is. You see, what was so special for me in distributing Bhagavatam, because Prachina Parishat told Narada, after hearing about the Bhagavad Dharma, he said, my teachers cheated me. He said, they never told me about this Bhagavad Dharma. He said, till now they were keeping me in darkness with Karma Kanda. You do this puja, you will get that. You do this, you will get this. And they were just keeping me in darkness. Now that I am hearing this from you, O Narada, I am feeling fired up. I am feeling very serious about Krishna consciousness. He called his ministers and told them, now I want to immediately go to forest and attain Lord Krishna. They said, wait a minute, your 10 sons have gone to forest, let them come back, put them on the throne, and then you can go to forest. He said, you guys are there, you do it, I'm going now. That much serious he became in his Krishna consciousness. So therefore you will see this Bhagavat Dharma, which is explained in the Bhagavatam itself. Even the Yamadutas, when they met Vishnudutas challenging question they asked Yamadutas. Tell us, do you know what is Dharma? What will you generally think about Yamadutas? You will think the Yamadutas may not be knowing about Dharma, correct? That's what we think. They are foolish fellows, demoniac fellows. We may think like that. But they spoke shlokas also. Veda pranihito dharmaha. They said, whatever is said in the Vedas is dharma. Adharmas tat viparyayaha. Anything opposed to Vedas is adharma. They said, Vedo narayana sakshat swayambhuriti shushruma. They said, the Vedas have been breathed out by Supreme Lord Narayana. We know that. And our master Yamaraj has taught us Vedas. So we know if somebody does punya, virtue, you should give these fruits. If somebody has done pap, sin, they should be given these fruits. So which means they were so much aware of Vedic principles. But one very important truth they were not aware. What is it? Bhagavad Dharma. They were not aware. They did not know that if somebody chants the holy name, immediately he is taken out of the sinful jurisdiction. There is a jurisdiction for Yamaraj and his servants, which is a circle of sinful people. As soon as you chant the holy name, immediately you are taken out of that circle. And then you are put in another circle, which is Vishnu's shelter. Immediately. That one point they were not aware. Otherwise, they were very proud of the knowledge of the Vedas. They were saying, we have observed, they were even saying about subtle body, the three gunas, how they act and what are the sinful activities and what results will be given and all that. But when they went to meet Yamaraj, this was a turning point verse for me in my life when I heard in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Swayambhu, before that also he talks about Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam na vai vidurshayo na api devaha na siddha mukhya asura manushya kuto nu vidyadara charanadeya. He says that Dharma cannot be given by anybody other than Krishna himself. Even great rishis, munis, what to speak of humans or kinnaras or vidyadharas. Nobody can talk Dharma except Lord himself. So this Bhagavad Dharma is ultimately given by Krishna himself. And then he says that, the names he says, 12 names he says, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu, Prahalado, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vaisesika, Vayam. Yamaraj says 12 names he says. Swayambhu is who? Swayambhu is Brahmaji. Narada, Shambhu is Shiva. Kumaras, 4 Kumaras. Kapilo, Manu, Swayambhu Manu, and Prahalado, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vaisesika is Shukadeva Goswami. After giving these names, he says, Dvadashayete vijanimo dharman bhagavatan bhatan guhyam vishuddham durbodham yajñatva amritamashnute. These 12 people only know what is love of God. The religion of love of God they know. And anybody who follows in the footsteps of these 12 people, they can also know. And what is the speciality of this Bhagavata Dharma? He says 3 things. Guhyam, Vishuddham, Durbodham. It is extremely confidential. He said, like Krishna says in the 9th chapter of Gita, Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyami. Bhakti is a very confidential path because, in Bhakti, Lord becomes vulnerable and the devotee also becomes vulnerable, affected by the Lord's love. Therefore, we should not open our heart to atheistic people and envious people and non-devotees because when you open your heart, you become vulnerable. So, Guhyam means it's a very confidential path. Therefore, Lord said, Bhakto sime saka cheti rahasyam hyataduttamam. I am giving you Arjuna because you are my Bhakta, you are my Saka. Therefore, I am giving you, he said. Similarly, this is Guhyam and Vishuddham means it is beyond the 3 gunas. It's completely in transcendental plane. Durbodham means even the Panditas cannot understand it. Scholars cannot understand it. But even a fool can understand the Bhagavatam if he has the right sincerity and attitude to understand. Like the South Indian Brahman Lord Chaitanya embraced, he could understand the message of the Gita. So, in this way, in the Bhagavatam itself, it is mentioned, the Parama Rahasyam is the Bhakti. So, in the Bhakti, in the Rahasyam definition, Sridhara Swami says, Iti Rahasyatvat Swamukhenaiva Bhagavata. We should know every word of this Bhagavatam is spoken by Krishna himself. Swamukhenaiva Bhagavata, he says. And then he is saying, Avidushamavi Pumsam. Even a foolish person, if he hears Bhagavatam from Guru Parampara, he'll become the most enlightened and most intelligent person, he says. And then he says, Anjasa, very easily, Atmalabdhiye, he can attain the ultimate goal of life very easily. So, when I understood the difference between the ordinary dharma and the paro dharma, that was the time my respectability for Bhagavatam shot up immediately. I understood that although we have read so many Puranas, so many Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all we have heard, we don't know this particular religion called as love of God. So, which is a path, the loving relationship between Lord and the devotee. So, once we experience the joy of this dharma, which gives a permanent solution, which is the most important thing. It says in that verse, second verse of first canto, 1.1.2, it says, Tapatraya Unmulanam. It says, it goes to the root cause. Like you see, in case there is a dead rat in your house somewhere, but it is smelling, you can put Odonil and suppress it. But then how many times it will again and again keep smelling when Odonil gets over? People will keep asking you. But then you move the cupboards and tables and everything and find out the dead rat and throw it far away. Along with that will be gone the nasty smell also. Similarly, our propensity for enjoyment comes as karma, jnana, yoga and all these things. Proprietorship, controllership, enjoyership, all these are nasty smelling agents. They have to be thrown far away, and for that we have to take shelter of Bhagavatam. By practicing the Bhagavata Dharma, we can become free from the propensities of lording over mentality. So, when one goes to the root of all wisdom, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, you are doing great good to yourself, and you can do the same for others. So, in those days, I also used to think that Bhagavatam is a very costly book. In India, it is 7,000 rupees in India, and it may be too much for people to buy. I used to find out sponsorships to subsidize it in those days. But it is a fact that nowadays people are making good amount of money. Money is flowing like river everywhere now. People are making. In those days, our jobs, we used to earn 3 lakh or 4 lakh per annum. Now people are getting 6 lakh, 8 lakh per month also. There are people earning like that. So money is there, only they should have a big heart to buy Bhagavatam. And how can a moneyed person have a big heart to buy Bhagavatam unless devotees reach it to their hands? You will see traditionally, the Bhagavatam has to be reached by some devotee too. Any living entity. Even Sanatana Goswami one day got a dream that a Brahmana came in his dream and he gave him Bhagavatam. And Sanatana Goswami received it very gladly. But when he opened his eyes, he saw it was only a dream. So he was very sad and he cried, alas, I thought I received Bhagavatam, I don't have Bhagavatam with me. But next day morning, sure enough, when the sun arose, one Brahmana came and gave him actual Bhagavatam to him in the hand. So you will see that the Bhagavatam was gifted, Bhagavatam was given by somebody, and the Bhagavatam also is taught. We can read and understand to some degree, but if we hear it from a very sincerely, seriously practicing devotee, it has even more pronounced effect. So in Pune, we had made a very simple policy that we should have reach everyone and gift one Bhagavatam set to everyone. And after that, in every lane there should be one Bhagavatam study circle. In Hindi we call it as a gali gali mein Bhagavatam study circle, like that kind of thing. Every gali there should be, which means what about other homes? Other homes should go to that program. In one lane, if you have 20 houses, all of them should go and attend one Bhagavatam study circle program. This is not a new invention, because in the South India, I heard that Ramanuja Kutiram was made by Sripad Ramanujacharya. 5,000 cottages he made, which was like open cottage. There will be a top like this and there will be pillars like this. And it is an open place. People would come and gather and study the Vaishnava Dharma, Paro Dharma, they would study. Of course, nowadays people are playing cards there nowadays, many places. Because therefore, those who are sincere in practicing spiritual life, they should preach and reach the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in this way, our actual confidence came after Prabhu took up that big responsibility of a worldwide book distribution, the campaign for both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, when I was going for installing Bhagavatam sets at home, there was no subsidy in that. We used to go and full price we used to sell, but now many techniques have come now. Devotees have various ideas through internet, through online, so many. The more you know technology now, people are also able to reach to nook and corner of the world, and many new people are taking Bhagavatam now. Very wonderful. It's a very good sign. It's like increasing the healing cells in this world. And the cancer cells can be diminished, and the healing cells can be expanded by this. In fact, if you simply put Bhagavatam in somebody's house, it is said the house will start glowing with spiritual effulgence, even if they don't do anything. But if they open the Bhagavatam pages and start reading, even more greater auspiciousness will come in the lives of people, because the chitta will become shuddha, their hearts will become cleansed of all the sinful reactions and proclivities and everything. But if they leave the Bhagavatam after studying it, at the end of their life they will find a Vaikuntha airplane standing outside their door to take them back to Godhead. So, in this way, even if somebody somehow or other, it reaches the hand of somebody, that itself is a great blessing. So, especially I can honestly touch my heart and say that this much quantity of Bhagavatam would not have gone all over the world without his divine touch. Earlier only ISV was getting benefit of Prabhu mostly. In those days I know very well, even before he took it at a world level, I have been reading news even 8-10 years ago also, that he used to travel in North America to different places. You had many temples where he would go and inspire them to distribute books. And most of his reach out was in America in those days. We used to hear the good news about his going and spending time in different places pushing the books. But now he's doing on a world level, international level. So this is like the international headquarters for book distribution from here. He's reaching out. And also he organizes meeting nationally and internationally. And his greatest intelligence is he wrote a book, Our Family Business. I have underlined so many parts of the book. One devotee said, your whole book you have underlined. Because the problem was, every sentence was so important. Generally I used to underline very important portions and give it a heading, and then backside I will make the indexing. But in this book everywhere I have underlined. Because he has put words, are very loaded words he has used. And we will have to sit and contemplate also on each of those sentences. So he wrote the book and he inspired the whole world. And now he is making the world, all over the world, devotees distribute books in a very big way. This is a very great auspiciousness for the whole movement. And I am also seeing the respectability of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON has greatly increased everywhere in the world. Probably main reason I feel is because the books have reached nook and corner. People who are seeing ISKCON from a mundane point of view, after reading Prabhupada's books, now they are getting the spiritual vision to honestly appreciate the good work that Srila Prabhupada did. And nowadays, when we go to different places, we are welcomed very easily. So we may not even know how the world is changing, because it is making a great change in the misguided civilization of the mass of the world. So I am especially thankful to His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu for his such committed, dedicated effort in reaching out the books. When I meet many of the American leaders, they all say that they are connected to him and they derive a lot of inspiration from him personally. So he is inspiring even his god brothers, he is inspiring disciples, he is inspiring every member of ISKCON all across the globe. So I am sure this will become a trend in the time to come. He has created that enthusiasm. It's like a chain reaction now. It has become unstoppable now. Every temple is now meditating on how to reach the books out. In this way, he has created that fiery spirit now, ignited the spark, as he says, fan the spark. So he's igniting the spark everywhere. I'm very grateful. And I'm feeling very joyful to be here today in this place on this auspicious occasion of Bhadra Purnima. And we also wish to do more and more in Pune. more than what we are currently doing, and bring great joy to Prabhuji's hearts. Hare Krishna.
Of course, I can't take credit for much. I just happen to come into the association of exalted souls, all of you, and thinking back to our humble beginnings. We all worked together, and Krishna inspired us, but I do remember the very beginning days of ISV when there were a few brahmacharis here, and they invited me to come in and talk to them about how to develop the community. And I said, "What are you thinking about doing?" And they said, "We would like to build a beautiful shining temple on a hill." And they had a little picture of it, hand drawing. And I said, "Well, then I can't help you because I'm not interested in building a temple." And they said, wait, what do you want to do? And I said, "Well, first, start with book distribution and make that your main focus. And then Krishna one day will fly over and drop a temple on your head." And I see that happened in Pune, because in Pune, the devotees lived in this old army barracks. And, devotees were so excited to be there. It wasn't because of the facility, because there wasn't much. They were all, like if you sleep on a submarine, you have to learn how to sleep like mixed in with people, everyone else on the floor. They were there for the spiritual energy. And then one day someone came along and said, "Oh, you're doing such great work. Please let me build you a temple." Maybe I'm abbreviating everything, but that's kind of how it happened, right? And so our success is dependent on Bhagavatam, and as Prabhu was just saying, the success of the movement is really based on the literature. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said we need mansions of transcendental literature. So we can wholeheartedly make this our work. Of course, what happens is when we do book distribution very earnestly, then there's a need for all the other 6 purposes of ISKCON, because people come and they're interested, and then we have to have a place where they can be accommodated and they can learn Krishna consciousness and so forth, and everything else springs up by this process of distributing books. That's why Prabhupada said the 7th purpose of ISKCON was to distribute print, distribute books, periodicals, and magazines, and by that we would achieve the aforementioned. And since you mentioned how the Bhagavatam caught your ear, I had come to the Krishna conscious movement especially because of the Bhagavad Gita. I was fascinated by it. Even before I got the Bhagavad Gita as it is, I just had a book of the Gita of translations, and I couldn't stop reading it over and over again. Then I got the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and then I said, this is it. This is the perfection of everything. And the Bhagavatam I couldn't quite figure out. When I walked in and I started seeing all the stories, I was more philosophically oriented and appreciative of the very straightforward presentation. But I thought, stories and what does it all mean? And then the Bhagavatam class at the San Francisco temple, it was during the morning time. There was a skylight in the beautiful all-white temple, white floors, white walls, white everything. It used to be a showroom for the caskets because it was previously a funeral parlor. And the light would be coming in through the skylight, and I remember the way the flowers, there's so many flowers, and when they're strewn on the white floor, and then of course there are these transcendental artwork on the walls and the deities, Shishi Radha Gokulananda. And then the Bhagavatam class would go on, and our temple president, was giving the Bhagavatam class, and I was sitting, listening every day, and it was in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and there was a recount of Krishna going into Dwarka, and then it was talking about how the queens were attached to Krishna, and they couldn't quit his lotus feet. And somehow or other, just the poetry of the Bhagavatam, suddenly it caught my ear, and I started thinking, wow, this is something really special. Where I didn't even think like that, it captured me. And so anyone can be uplifted by the Bhagavatam, as Prabhupada wrote when he was coming to America, that this is the sound vibration that can lift someone from any position in life. And the Bhagavatam says it also, Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha bhirashumva yavana kasadaya yeneja papa yarapashraya shaya shudyanti tasmai pravavishnave nama. It doesn't matter what position you're in now, if you hear the Bhagavatam in the association of devotees, satam prasangam mamavirya sambido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kata tajjoshana rashu apavarga vartmani shadaratir bhaktir anukramishruti. Then step by step, you'll come into the higher stages of appreciation and then full-blown love for Krishna just by hearing the Bhagavatam. So everyone who gets a Bhagavatam is fortunate, and I was thinking about what you said about the radiance that comes from the Bhagavatam, and the statement in the Shastra, Prabhupada mentions it in the Nectar of Devotion, that the Devas do puja to those homes where people carefully keep the Vaishnava literatures. They're doing a little puja to your house. People may be thinking, like, let me worship Lakshmi, let good fortune come, but the Devas, from where the Bhagavatam is situated, the Devas are going, I worship that house. So how fortunate are the residents there? And I suppose if you had some infrared photography and you flew over, for instance, Cupertino, which we've worked quite heavily in all the places where the Bhagavatam. We should have that. We should have a little map. Google, I saw when we went there, once there was a huge screen and it was showing how many Google inquiries were coming in. And it had the whole world. So in any of the places when the questions were coming into Google, there was a little bubble that would come up. And as the sun moved across the world and the morning time would come, when we were watching it, it was morning time in China. And then the bubble started awakening, and then it was just a wash in inquiries for Google. It would be nice if we had a map like that of the world. And every time a Bhagavatam set goes out somewhere, then we could see where it was placed. We have that preliminarily in looking at the maps. So we should think that as this continues, we'll be able to cover the earth as Prabhupada had envisioned, so that we can have a victory over Kali Yuga in this age. We wouldn't choose any other weapon. Nothing else is strong enough to overcome the influence of the Kali Yuga except for the Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy names. Now I see there's something going on behind the scenes there with some kind of a... What are you doing over there? Tell us what the development is, and if there's any news of how we're doing here, inching towards our goal, what's coming up in the next few minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So as we are speaking, devotees are texting to see if they can sponsor a set of Bhagavatam today, especially because it's very auspicious day today. And one more thing is, we are also having the Yajna in Mayapur today. So devotees are sending in the names so that we can add them to the list. So that's what we are doing now, Prabhu. And maybe if you can do Kirtan for next 5 minutes, and then we can play the video at 7:30. And we have a short window where devotees can sponsor if they want to, because at 8 o'clock we'll start the Aarti for both Bhagavatam and for the deities.
Okay.
Thank
That sounds like a good plan. Would you like to sing?
Yeah, you sang very beautiful in the beginning.
Yeah, but we need a little spiritual purification. Would you like kartals or some gong? Kartal.
You sang very beautiful in the beginning.
Whatever it may be. Kartal is okay? Is that too big?
Hare Krishna. Ready? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radharamana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe, Govinda Radhe Gopal Radhe, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe. Nittai Gauranga Jaya, Nittai Gauranga, Nittai Gauranga Jaya, Nittai Gauranga, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol. कलियुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
So we're here camped out, like at Naimisharanya, and we're just really feeling electrified because we know that all over the world today, devotees are engaged in distributing such a Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. And so we feel very fortunate to be here. Prabhupada said to his secretary several times that this mass distribution of books, we will see in the future how it has changed the history of the world. How else would one do that? That is, change the history of the world, inculcate an ideology into the world's literature has done it historically in numerous incidents in history. And we plan on doing that also. And we'll continue to do so. And part of that really is measuring how we're doing and scaling it up. So, what's it looking like out there? Malini, tell us what we've won for our efforts.
We are inching towards our goal, Prabhu. Our goal for distributing Srimad Bhagavatams for ISV is at least 2,500 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And we have calculated some scores that, what all the scores that we got in, and we are inching slowly towards the goal. And we hope that today we can.
I just had this thought during Maharaj's Kirtan, which took me to another world, but I would like to sponsor a set of Bhagavatams, but I need help with this one. It's for a famous movie actor his name is Ethan Hawke. Has anybody ever heard of Ethan Hawke before? I need help finding where he lives so we can deliver the Bhagavatam. Could somebody help me with that? Tim, could you help us?
Tim got it.
We could figure out how to contact him. The reason I brought it up was because somebody sent me an interview with him, and he said that he had watched an interview with the poet, what's his name, in the beginning of our movement? Allen Ginsberg. Jerry and Rubin was coming into my head. Allen Ginsberg. And he had seen him chant Hare Krishna on television, and he mentioned this in the interview. And then he was talking about how it affected him. And I was just thinking, wow, the holy name goes out all over the world. That happens to be the first time I heard Hare Krishna also chanted, was in my junior high school class. And my teacher, Mr. Schumacher, showed it, and it was Hare Krishna, the same interview. So I'd like to sponsor a set of Bhagavatams for Ethan Hawke.
Haribo! Well, we wanted to play a video, but looks like Prabhu wants to directly dive into this. Just so that you all know, we've placed books in the villages of India. We are sending books to South America. We're sending books to Ukraine, Japan, and many countries. Last time we have shown the sheet where you can, when you sponsor a set of Bhagavatam, your name will be placed there. And if you want to sponsor a set for North America or for Ukraine, it is $250. Or rest of the countries, you can sponsor for $200. So, and I also wanted to let you know that if you're watching online, you can, if you would like to sponsor, you can text this number, which is 408-515-5292. The number again is 408-515-5292. And as His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu says, whenever somebody sponsors a set, please encourage them by chanting Hari Bol loudly and clapping. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Just practicing. Okay, Krishna Saka.
Krishna Saka Prabhu. He needs a mic for this.
Eight sets from Achyut Balram Prabhu and Yashoda Priya Mataji, and 8 SB sets from Achyut Balram Prabhu, that is Akshay Prabhu, and Yashoda Priya Mataji. One SB set from Chai and Shivangi, and 1 SB set from Kamal.
Haribol!
Sure. 8 SB set from Achyut Balram Prabhu and Yashoda Priya Mataji. Here, US. Yeah. And 1 for Jai and Shivangi, US, and 1 from Kamal for US.
Haribol!
Okay, Shraddha Mataji just text that 1 Srimad Bhagavatam set for Annaya. This is from Madhav Prem Prabhu, and that is for USA.
Haribol!
Neelamani Krishnachandra Prabhu would like to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for USA.
Haribol!
And Harshad Prabhu would like to sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Maharashtra.
Haribo!
I know.
Okay, the number for texting is 408-515-5292. But if you are in the room, you can just raise your hands. Shyam Jagannath Prabhu? So Shyam Jagannath Prabhu is sponsoring one set for his friend Varun here in USA. Haribo!
Did we find Ethan Hawke? Yes. Okay, we're searching for. He may be watching, I don't know, but we could try to get him on the phone too, if possible, and just tell him that we're thinking of him and we'd like to have a set of Bhagavatams. Yeah.
Can I sponsor 3 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, please?
For
me? Oh, but USA.
Haribo! Tim Prabhu is sponsoring 3 Srimad Bhagavatams for USA. Ansh wants to sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for USA. Mayapur, okay, Prabhu. Prem Nitai Prabhu is sponsoring 2 sets of Bhagavatam for His Grace Radisham Prabhu. Haribo!
Haribo!
I'm sorry I'm repeating the one in the room because this has to be broadcasted live, so that's why I'm
I
repeating.
just wanted to note that SKP has entered the building. Haribo! And not only that, Hansapriya has stepped up to the microphone, so things are looking up here at ISV.
Shiv Kumar and Manjula Kanta would like to sponsor one.
Haribo!
Shyam Sundar Prabhu would like to sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for USA, and he's sending it to his colleague in Texas.
Haribo!
Naveen, Mayapur Prabhu?
Prabhu.
Oh, Haribo.
His family here. And another 4 Russian sets for our Russian devotees here. Yeah.
Haribo! Thank you, Mayapur Prabhu, for opening the Russian sets. We have a lot of sets here in Russian. If somebody wants a set, we can. This is an opportunity. So Mayapur Bihari Prabhu is sponsoring 5 Russian sets and 1 for Vedavyas Prabhu here. Haribo!
Haribo!
Did I miss anybody here in the room? Okay. So this is a message from Naveen Prabhu. He would like to sponsor 8 Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
Haribo!
Okay. Dhira Prashanta Prabhu? Okay.
Haribo!
So Dhira Prashant Prabhu, one for India and one for US, one for Radisham Prabhu.
Jai. And this is a message from Kautukarna Prabhu. He wants to sponsor 20 Bhagavatam sets for USA. Or, this is or, not and, or 25 sets of Bhagavatam for other countries, for Guru Maharaj and farther, I don't know, I think there's some typo here, but he's requesting for prayers for his spiritual progress.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Radhamanan Mohan, Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please bless and empower Kautukarna Prabhu that he will attain the highest stage of prema in this lifetime. Hare Krishna.
Haribo! So this is a message from Ananda Mataji. One set in India from Purva Jain. One set, I think it is USA, that is Barsha Panda. Harish Prabhu and Preeti Mataji, one set in India. And Janki Shah, one set in India.
Haribo!
Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna, I want to sponsor 2 sets for Radisham Prabhu, helping ISKCON Hyderabad and ISKCON Sadasivpet with Sri Ram Das, my brother. And thank you.
Haribo!
Haribo!
Just a note about Sri Ram Prabhu, because I want to bring up his name, how he was one of the pioneers of the early days of Bhadra Purnima. Wouldn't be where it is today without Sri Ram Prabhu.
Jai. Haribo! Okay. Achyuta Kumar Prabhu texted. He wants to sponsor 2 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're gifting to one set to Sundarananda Prabhu and family and another to Mayapur Prabhu and family.
Haribo!
So, Scott Prabhu, he's from the Bhakti community. He would like to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam to his former student in Japan. Haribo! Oh, he just texted that he finished the payment also. So.
Yes.
So we have, you want to say? We have one devotee named Shubha who did very nice pipeline work, gas line work for ISV. And he actually saved literally thousands of dollars for us. And he did such a nice job that we were able to cook for more than 10,000 devotees for Janmashtami. So if any of you would like to sponsor a set, we are happy to take 1 set for him. Yes, Suyesh Prabhu. Suyesh Prabhu would like to sponsor. So is Sukeshwari. Jai. Priyanka, Jai. We'll make sure he has 3 rooms in the house.
So this is a Bhagavatam set for Shubha Prabhu. This is from one from Priyanka Mataji, one from Sukeshwari, another from Suyash Prabhu. Haribo!
One set of Srimad Bhagavatam from Vedic Academy Kids for His Grace on behalf of Nirakula Mataji and Vaisesika Prabhu, and 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam on the name of Radisham Prabhu from Bhagavad Seva.
Haribo!
All the kids.
So 1 from Vedic Academy and 1 from Bhagavad Seva, 1 for Radisham Prabhu and 1 for Vaisesika Prabhu. Okay. Achyuta Kumar Prabhu is sponsoring 2 more sets. He is gifting 1 set to His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji, and other set to His Grace Radisham Prabhu.
Haribo!
I think we should have Radisham Prabhu here for every program.
Now you're talking. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Our own Damodar Vamshidhari Prabhu would like to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for South America.
Haribo!
Santosh Singaraj Prabhu, he actually distributed a set of Srimad Bhagavatam today to his friend, so he just wanted to put that in this as well. Haribo!
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I'll sponsor for my mother's memory. Today is the 6 months for her. So I'll sponsor 5 sets.
Haribo.
5 sets from Hansapriya.
Haribo.
Haribo. Okay. So Radhakripa Prabhu is sending some messages. So, one set of Srimad Bhagavatam on behalf of his father-in-law and mother-in-law, Satyendranath Upadhyay and Manju Upadhyay.
He's here. Haribo.
And one set of Srimad Bhagavatam on behalf of his Chachi and Chachaji, Harsh Paul and Usha Rani. And one Srimad Bhagavatam on behalf of his father, Sri Somnath. Haribo.
In other yugas, the priest would make a huge fire pit, and then the ghee and grains would be offered into it. But now we do this, the same kind, swaha. We put the resources that we have, this imagined wealth of paper that represents something else, and we donate it into the fire of the Bhagavatam. And it's the same effect, giving directly to Krishna, the yajna.
So Shyam Jagannath Prabhu is texting. One of his friend whom they were gifting Srimad Bhagavatam asked about Bhadra Purnima. So he's donating one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Gram Vidyadan. But he would like to stay anonymous, so we're not announcing his name.
Haribo!
There is also one more anonymous for Ukraine.
Haribo!
Haldarupa and Kumari would like to sponsor one set to Hawaii for Bhakta Adam.
Haribo!
Just in keeping up with ways the Bhagavatam's going all over the world. When we were on Wisdom of the Sages, someone asked if a set could go to South Korea, and Malini took days to figure out how to get it shipped to that address, and went to great lengths, even though it was very costly to send it, and we're giving it as a gift. We decided that many years ago that the more we invest in book distribution, and the more we give generously, then everything else happens naturally and comes into bloom by watering the root of the tree. Just like Tata, they give more than half their income. And they're one of the longest standing, strongest companies in India. This is a known fact because they're thinking about giving rather than just taking.
Speaking of Tata, I like one of his quote is that if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. That's why I like the Bhadra campaign, because we go so much more further actually in receiving by giving this Bhagavatam. So it's so nice that you brought up the Tata, because that mood actually says Tata to Maya.
Radhagiri Hari Prabhu told me about that. He's the one from the Arta Forum, and he said that those communities, organizations, corporations that are oriented towards giving are the most successful, and they have the greatest longevity.
Prabhu, we got a message from Rohini Dulal Prabhu. He would like to he and his wife, Labanga Sakhi Mataji, would like to sponsor 4 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam for USA.
Haribo!
We have Natwar Prabhu. He would like to sponsor one set He said, for my mother, who is also running a center in India, and actually she's influenced by Natwar Prabhu and she's doing preaching a lot. So it's a wonderful gift to Natwar Prabhu's mother.
Haribo.
Haribo!
Manjari texted in. They want to sponsor 4 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam for USA on behalf of Kishori. Haribo!
1 set from Harshad Prabhu and family for Maharashtra.
Haribo! You have your hand up? Sadhu Vrindavan's got his hand up.
Haribol Sadhu.
Rasika Mataji would like to sponsor 1 set on behalf of India.
Haribo.
Haribol! Oh, we're missing Rasika Mataji here, but thank you for chiming in. So 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Rasika Mataji in India. Haribol.
So, Prabhuji, and also we are looking for Spanish sets. Like when I went to Madrid, they're desperately looking like Hanuman Das Prabhu. Like we started with LAFTA now, like for the, like South America, LAFTA. So we are looking any sponsors for South America also, because they don't have complete Srimad Bhagavatam sets. They have till 8-9 cantos, but they are very desperate to read Bhagavatam.
These pipelines are being opened up all over the world because some places don't have much money, and we have it all here. So we'd like to distribute it outwardly from here to all the different parts of the world.
Okay,
South America is one of them. Please go ahead.
So this message is from Shastrakrit Prabhu, who distributes so many sets of Bhagavatam, especially to African Americans.
Jai
He would
Shastrakrit.
like to sponsor 2 sets of Bhagavatam for USA.
This is like when Raghunath Das Goswami held that Chip Rice Festival, and even the merchants, they were coming in and taking their own prasad. So Shastrakrit's distributor, and he's also donating sets.
So this is a message from our dear Nirakula Mataji. She'd like to sponsor a set for South America to Chaturika Sakhi Devidasi to distribute to a friend or family member in Venezuela.
Haribo!
And this is a message from Sindhu Kanya and Vamshidhar Gopal Prabhu. They would like to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for India. So Radhakripa Prabhu is finding all his family members' names. He wants to sponsor 2 sets of Bhagavatam on behalf of his sisters, Praveena Lata and Anuradha, for Spanish in South America. Haribo! I would like to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Ramananda Saka Prabhu's mom, who is in India. A Telugu Bhagavatam set. I hope she can read. So 1 set for her.
Venu India.
Haribo.
Jai. Hari Hari Bol. Ananta
Yes,
Prabhu.
Ananta Prabhu.
Haribo! Isn't that nice? He
Way to
gave
go,
one to his
Ananta.
brother. That's nice.
So Ananta Prabhu is sponsoring 1 set for his brother Shubha Prabhu, who already has 3 rooms with Bhagavatam now. This is the 4th room. Jai.
Just a little note for everyone online. We're winding down. Actually, this is a small window, and tonight I'm not just saying it like usual, that we're stopping because we have to have Aarti and then we have to get out of here. So because we're doing the broadcast from here,
Yes.
we have to clear out. So if you're online, you want to text in, you got a few minutes.
So this is a message from Sukeshwari that she wants to sponsor 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam on behalf of Shastra Sar Prada Prabhu for India. And this is a message from Bhakta William from Oregon. he would like to sponsor one set for South America.
Haribo!
I think we have just last...
2 minutes left for to pledge on Bhadra Purnima. Please be quick.
Priyanka Mataji, please go ahead.
Jai Haribo.
Jai.
Haribo!
Priyanka would like to sponsor one set for South America.
And
If
that's
we-
on behalf of her parents, Priyanka Mataji's parents. Haribol.
And we have one sponsorship. They don't want to announce, but they also wanted blessings. This is from their grandparents to little girl. So I'll give the name later, but one set for US.
Haribol! And Sukeshwari texts again that she wants to sponsor one set for India on behalf of her husband, Ravi Prabhu.
Actually, Vaisesika Prabhu mentioned it's a very small window. And yes, Parth, first you.
Okay, Tim's handling this, so please give to Tim. You found his manager?
I found his manager and
You're hired. No, he's good. He's good at these things. Very good part. Excellent. Okay, pass it on to Tim. We'll have a teamwork and we'll get Ethan Hawke. Hopefully he'll come here for the next one and he can get all his friends.
This is a message from Nikunja Sundari Mataji wants to sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
And one set for Shraddha Mataji and Rakesh Prabhu as well.
Haribol!
Haribol! Hari Sankirtan Prabhu wants to sponsor one set of Srimad Bhagavatam for India. Haribol! Okay, there's some consulting going on here.
Yeah, 6:20.
Megha would like to sponsor 4 sets.
Haribol!
Actually, I would like to gift one set to Venudhari Gopal Prabhu as a gratitude for all the wonderful packing that he does for Motel Gita and ISV. Literally, he's closing on to 100,000 books distributed just for Motel Gita from this campus.
Jai Haribol!
So when before Parth got into that talk, I was mentioning that Vaisesika Prabhu mentioned that we have a very small window. And I do want to take an opportunity to actually thank the Janmashtami planning team, which is Venudhari, Anantanitai Prabhu, Prashant, Ananga Gopika, Tarun Prabhu, Krishna Chaitanya. I mean, they did incredible service. I'd been thinking what to gift them, I can't find anything. I was in India last week and I couldn't find anything. So what could be more better gift than from Vaisesika Prabhu's his own hands to my team members. And I'm so incredibly proud of you. And so for each of them, one set from Vaisesika Prabhu.
What's the total? What's the total?
There's 40 people on the team.
No problem, we'll send you the bill.
No, I heard that. I don't know.
6 sets.
Haribol!
Also, I would like to gift one set to Radha Vallabha Prabhu for Yogi Plate team because they were so kind enough to let us use their kitchen for Janmashtami. And we need to go into...
I think we have only like 10 seconds left. I'm just going to... okay. So...
5 sets to India, Pune.
Pankaj Prabhu, 5 sets to Pune. Tarang and Kushi would like to sponsor 1 set for India. Ramrati Prabhu would like to sponsor 1 set, I don't know, for India or for USA, it doesn't mention. So we are taking it as USA. So we are reading fast because we have to now start the Aarti. So while the Aarti is going on, whoever is ready to receive Srimad Bhagavatams under the grace and with these hands of His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu can line up here, and then we can they can receive the Bhagavatam on the golden throne.
So that means everyone can stand up now. We can move the seats. Yes?
Just last 2.
Yes.
This is again from Radhakripa Prabhu. 2 sets on behalf of his mother, late mother, Shanti Devi Dasi, who never missed an opportunity to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. And Natwar Prabhu is sponsoring 1 set of Srimad Bhagavatam for India for his mother and ISKCON Jangir. Okay.
Haribo! Okay, Hanspriya, organize it.
Yes,
Everyone
please.
stand up.
So if we can actually be seated, so
Seated.
that way, they can see receiving the Bhagavatam. And those who need to take a picture for whoever you're receiving, you can take. And we'll have Aarti go on simultaneously for Bhagavatam as well as for the deities.
Okay.
Okay. So Vaisesika Prabhu will stand here and you all can form a line here. And after you take a Bhagavatam, please, you can actually exit through the French door. And then you can come back in, okay? So those who would like, names won't be announced, you just form a line, okay? Hare Krishna. If you're paying obeisances, please make sure you're not putting your feet towards the Prabhupada, and the Kirtan can go on.
Let's please thank Radisham Prabhu again. Puma, come on. Shri Krishna, the old tune. Goda Chande Aroti Koshoba. But do the pranam first. Nama Om and then Om.
Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Nirvishesha
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajikacharya Stotra Satashishi Madhapai Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajikacharya Stotra Satashishi Madhapai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopina Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Sam Beda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Shri Bhadra Purnima Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlalada Dadaine. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Shilatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nrishingha Parato Nrishingho. Yato Yato Yamitato Nrishingha. Bahir Nishingo Ridaye Nrishingo. Nrisingabading Sharanam Prapadye. Tabakara Kamalavare Natamadita Shingam. Dalita Hiranya Kashi Bhutanu Bingam. Keshava Krishna Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Radha Kambalava Kamavita Shringa Dalita Hiranya. Bhakti Vignamana Shri Shingidev Ki Jai. Bhakti Baba Shivlad Baba Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we're winding down tonight's Bhadra Purnima, just as it's picking up in other parts of the world. ISV, because of Ramananda Sakra Prabhu, has become a hub for world broadcasting. So the broadcasting team will be actually running the whole worldwide show from here in this little control room back here that we've put together over the last few years. So we have to be out of here by 9 o'clock so they can get set up, because it starts at 9:30, and it'll be a Mahayagya going on in Mayapur, India. And this same kind of assembly that we've had here today is going on across the globe. Every continent is having these types of events to celebrate the Srimad Bhagavatam. And just as a close for tonight, we want to hear the words of Srila Prabhupada and his vision for the Srimad Bhagavatam that he wrote in the preface to the Bhagavatam. It gives us a flavor for what he was thinking as he brought this forth to the world. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Preface. We must know the present need of human society. And what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular countries and communities. Human society is broader than in the Middle Ages. And the world tendency is toward one state or one human society. The ideals of spiritual communism, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society, nay, on the entire energy of all living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins, therefore, with an aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janmadya Sayataha, to establish the ideal of a common cause. Human society at the present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the fields of material comforts, education, and economic development through the entire world. But there is a pinprick somewhere in the social body at large, and therefore there are large-scale quarrels over even less important issues. There is a need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need, for it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Srimad Bhagavatam should be introduced also in the schools and colleges, for it is recommended by the great student devotee, Prahalad Maharaj, in order to change the demoniac face of society. Kaumara acharet pragno dharman bhagavatam iha durlabham manusham janma tadapya dhruvam artatam. Disparity in human society is due to lack of principles in a godless civilization. There is a God, or the Almighty One, from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and in whom everything is merged to rest. Material science has tried to find the ultimate source of creation very insufficiently, but it is a fact. There is one ultimate source of everything that be. Kumbh Mela. This ultimate source is explained rationally and authoritatively in the beautiful Bhagavatam, or Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental science not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him and our duty toward perfection of the human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. It is a powerful reading matter in the Sanskrit language, and it is now rendered into English elaborately, so that simply by a careful reading one will know God perfectly well, so much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accepting God as a concrete principle. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the definition of the ultimate source. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, Srila Vyasadeva, and gradually it develops into 9 cantos up to the highest state of God realization. The only qualification one needs to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step cautiously and not jump forward haphazardly as with an ordinary book. It should be gone through chapter by chapter, one after another. The reading matter is so arranged with the original Sanskrit text, its English transliteration, synonyms, translation, and purports, so that one is sure to become a God-realized soul at the end of finishing the first 9 cantos. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos because it deals directly with the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. One will be unable to capture the effects of the 10th canto without going through the first 9 cantos. The book is complete in 12 cantos, each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. I must admit my frailties in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, but still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavatyapi namanyanantasya yashon kitani yash shinvanti gayanti grananti sadhava. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So that's Haribol. This then becomes our inherited mission to pass on the Srimad Bhagavatam to the entire world. And between now and 2026, our goal is to increase by 23% every year. So although Bhadra Purnima may be closing right here now at ISV, you can start working towards next year. Because we have to increase capacity. We don't come back next year and say, well, everyone already has one. That's not true. And the more we meditate on it and make it an ideal for us to see that people get Bhagavatam everywhere, the more Krishna will reveal the ways and means to do it. And Prabhupada presented us this process of Krishna consciousness and included the development of the distribution and the activity of distributing Krishna consciousness as part of our sadhana. It's actually a way in which we become aware of how the three modes of material nature work in the world. We become refined in the way we speak to people. And we also start to develop a deep love for the Bhagavatam as we see its effect on other people. Because you have to test your mantras. You may chant your mantras at home and then start thinking that I wonder if they're actually working. But when you distribute it to others regularly and you notice that actually uniformly they change, they evolve by coming in contact with these mantras, then you realize again and again that they're potent. That's why in the Vedic age, people used to test the mantras by bringing animals back to life to say, yeah, it's still working. We're doing it properly. So we bring ourselves back to life, and then we bring others back to life, and we can actually bring the whole world back to life through the Srimad Bhagavatam. How else would you do it besides transcendental sound vibration? So let's dedicate ourselves to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day and making it our mission to carry out the wishes of Srila Prabhupada to make sure that this gets read in all the universities, that it's in every home. As he said, if every respectable person should have a set in their house. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. This was one of the most joyful festivals ever, wasn't it? It's just amazingly spontaneous and joyful. And we'll be missing everybody until we see you tomorrow morning at around 6:15. Okay, so please get a little rest and we'll come back out swinging for the fences and see if we can't get a sixer out of it. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpadurvascha kripasindhavevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nantakoti vaishnavendra ki jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
So, Hare Krishna, the prasadam will be served outside. As we mentioned earlier, that this room now will be used for broadcasting live program, which is internationally broadcasted. So we need this room to be quiet. So if we can request devotees to please go outside and take prasadam and not come in here. And those who have already taken Srimad Bhagavatams today, Your Bhagavatam sets are outside at the table. You can pick up your sets from there. Whatever languages, anything that you can do from there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.